So, I said in the last part we were going to do engine work this time round. No, I did decaling. Hi everyone, Paul ISM. Before we get going today, as usual, click that subscribe button, click the little bell notification, make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave a comment should you wish. I answer them all, I really do. And as always, all the products you see in this video are linked in the description down below. Click on that, it takes you a big long list, you can find nearly everything I use on there. If you've got any questions, ask me in the comments or PM me on Facebook, whatever, and I'll answer them as good as I can. So, welcome to part 5. I think it's 5 of the bike build. As I said in the intro, I said I was going to do engine work this time round, and it didn't pan out like that. I knew I could get a video out quick by doing decaling. It's done. It's probably, for me, the most stressful part of these bike builds. Quite often these bike kits are irreplaceable to a degree. They're worth a fortune. They go for silly money. I never screw a decal up. That's it. There's no replacements for a lot of them. I've got doubles of the kit. I've got double decals that are bought, so I'm pretty much safeguarded against that. And as in this, it was a good job. One of my decals didn't fail on me. I didn't wreck it as such, but when I was putting it on, a bit ham-fisted, I creased it. So the decal folded on itself. Now on any other decal, that'll normally be fine. On metallic decals, it takes the metallic part of the decal out and there was a gap in it. I wasn't happy with it, so I broke into the second set of decals to use them. It's a bit of a shame. It basically devalues that other kit. I can't sell it. But I've ordered some other decals, Fortuna ones. If I can get a pick, I'll put it up there. Very, very nice scheme. So I'm about to get those so I can still use the kit and make a nice bike later on. Now the benefit of this, which it did pay off really, is obviously I get the perfect decal I want. And on some of the decals I've got white backgrounds on the black painted surfaces. When I put them on, they were showing the background through. So I doubled up the white decals in places. I did the Carrera C's on the front fairing when they go onto the front side fairing onto the front fairing. I've done it there, and I did it on the rear seat cover, which I show in the video. So that gives a better depth of white then. So it was worthwhile using an extra decal sheet. Didn't use it all, still got loads of it left, so I've got spares. It's just one of those things. I bought these extra bikes for this reason. That's what it's used for. I've got other decals on the way so the kit's not wasted, and that's it. Now, with this decaling session yesterday took me probably 6 to 8 hours. I'd say it was about 7 hours in total to do from start to finish. The bike decals are complex. They've got to be perfect in my eyes. They've got to be placed perfectly to line up with other ones. They're pieced as well in places, and it takes a lot of care. Now, I couldn't film the whole thing. I went through 3 batteries doing this on the camera and ended up with 4 hours of footage. Now, I've got this down to 20 minutes. I'm going to speed some of it up. I'm going to overplay music over some of it. I'll do some voiceover of some of it. I haven't done it yet. I've no idea how long the video is going to be, so it could be 10 minutes long, mostly music with a bit of talking. Could be more, no idea. Bear with me, it's just getting the decaling out of the way, and I've shown it as much as I can, and any important part, I'll do a voiceover and explain it. That's it. So, next time when we come back, we should be doing the engine, but right now, we're off to do decals. So we're going to start off today by sanding back that raised line we got from masking last time. So masking the white to black demarcation, we've been left with a slight step. We want to remove this so it doesn't show through the decals. So I've got 8000 micro mesh wetted, and I'm just lightly running it over the demarcation line. And what that does is removes that step and gives us a nice smooth finish to go to. So there's the bottom cowling and the front as well. Be very light, doesn't need a lot of pressure, you don't want to burn through it. Doesn't take a lot of pressure to get rid of that demarcation, and there are decals to cover where they go, so if the paintwork's not exactly perfect, it's not the end of the world. The decals will cover all your sins, but getting rid of the steps is important, otherwise you will see it through the actual decal physically itself. So a little bit of time, a little bit of sanding, dry it off, job done. So we've got a decal sheet. It's quite a complex scheme on this one. Beautiful cartograph decals. And unlike I said just before, this decaling session yesterday and today was about 12 hours to do this. I do take my time doing them, but they are quite extensive to do and require some careful application. So carefully cutting out using your craft knife. Always use a brand new blade. I always change the blade. We'll line it up on the body to see roughly where we go before we commit to putting the decal in water. We've got my decal tray, which is warmed over the coffee warmer, as usual. We've got our ultimate decal solutions, cotton buds, our water pen, micro set, kitchen towel, tweezers, scissors, and our knife as well. All these products can be found in the description down below. Take you to a big long list, and you can find them all there. So using the hot water, warm water, probably about 40-50 degrees C, helps the decal come off the backing paper a little bit quicker, and it makes the decal a touch more supple. Now these are cartograph decals, very, very high quality decals, so we shouldn't have any dramas of these at all, but it's still very apprehensive putting the first one down. And as I said, this to me is probably the most nerve-wracking part of these kits. There are literally no replacement decals for these, so unless you've got a spare kit, which luckily I have, you really, really need to take your time. So we'll put micro set down on the surface first. You don't have to, you can use water or the water on the decal sheet. And then we'll position it in place. Again, we're using a mixture reference of the body itself, the instructions, and the box art too, to look where these are all placed. You may also have to cross-reference other part, as we will in a minute, to make sure the coverage is right. And right now we'll just remove any excess water fluid from underneath the decal, making sure we get a position where we want and we're happy, because do not commit to any of the setting solutions that actually conform the decal until you're happy it's in place. Like I said, I do have a decaling video out there, so you can go watch that, go watch the Subaru build, where it's covered a bit more in depth. Once you're happy where the decal is, we're going with our strong solution first. Pop some on. I'd like to get the excess off and lightly apply it all over the decal. And then we let that sit on there for a couple of minutes, do its business, and then come back and work over the decal softly again. Again, I decal loads of cars every year. I've got very good at doing it, in my opinion, and I do speed through this process. If you're unsure, take your time. Just be a bit more delicate than I may appear to be. I know how far I can stretch these decals, not literally, but push them, should we say. And let the decal solution work for you. Now, I did find later on that the strong solution was probably the best one to hit this with straight away. It seemed to work a little bit quicker and was a little bit gentler on the decals overall. But what we're trying to do is conform this to all the shapes, all the recesses, the bends and curves, get rid of any creases or bubbles. And it does take time to do to get it to work perfectly. So work it around slowly. Once you're happy, I've hit it now with the strong decal solution. As you see, we're just lightly applying it all over. And then again, we'll let that sit for a few minutes. Using my finger to smooth out any decal imperfections. Like I say, if you're not confident, only use the brush. Don't be hitting it with cotton buds or fingers like I am. Right there, I'm removing any excess decal solution off the paintwork. Don't want it to sit. After you've got it in place, just double check your placement on the front cowling. As you can see, it's spot on. The front painted part matches perfectly. And I'm very happy with how that looks. I'll zoom in for you to look. And you see, we line that part up at the top. And this part at the back, the decal pretty much lines up at the front perfectly. And they're the important parts we need to fit. As you can see, once it's in place, there's no white showing, and it's perfect. Onto the decals now. So again, same process, micro set down, decal on the water, take the decal off, get it in place, use your tweezers, cotton buds, your brush, cocktail sticks, whatever you're most comfortable with moving the decal around. Just take your time, pay extra attention to your call outs, make sure you get the decal in the right place. And as you've just seen, if you're using one decal brush, make sure to rinse it off and clean it before you go for the different solutions. Now that side piece we put on the side panel has another part on top, so this needs careful placement. Nice and easy to do though. And the bottom cowling is one nice big decal each side. And again, just paying attention to the call outs, make sure you get it all lined up perfectly. Using reference points like we did when we were masking. We'll ensure you get it all in the right place. Make sure it's straight. Once you're happy, you can set it. Again, the tank itself, this has got to line up with several parts. Mainly there's a section missing out that front bit where there's another little piece to go in. So make sure it's all round. As you see, once it's all done, it looks absolutely spot on. Very happy with that. Several decals. There's probably about 8 or 9 decals on that fuel tank. We've got several on the lower cowling as well. No problem whatsoever. All gone down really well. Side fairings, fantastic. Really responded well to the UMP decal solutions. The other side fairing as well. Beautiful. Very nice scheme. Love the gold stripe through them. Our front cowling next. So this is probably one of the trickier parts to do. Lots of different angles to make sure you get and cover. And this for me is probably the most stressful part. As you can see, it's a big old decal. Lots of parts to make sure they're in the right place. Butted up correctly. We don't want any white parts showing in places because this is where it goes up against the other fairing. So quite stressful to do. And as you can see, once we've got all the solution out from underneath, hit it with our setting solutions, it's gone beautifully down. That combination of red, black and gold is absolutely stunning. The gold's not showing too well on camera, but it is there. As you can see, if we line it up again, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Really nice scheme. This is a bike I've wanted to build for quite some time. And like I say, that big decal there, that's one or two. There's now another one. After you hit them up with all the decal solutions and you've got everything down, don't be afraid to come in with a finger and lightly conform the edges around. If you don't do this now, you may damage them later on. Or even worse, when clear coating, it could lift the decals. So if any overhang anywhere, hit them with a little bit of decal solution, leave them for a minute or so, and then come in with your finger and just lightly conform it round until you're happy it's all nicely set. Nothing worse than catching a decal and ripping it because it hasn't quite conformed to the edge of the surface. And again, any excess decal solutions, wipe off a cotton bud. Don't let them sit on the paintwork or the decal because they can leave water spots sometimes. And it's a shame to ruin all your hard work. So you can see, just making sure any little bubbles have gone, making sure I'm happy with where it's sitting. And I'm very happy with that. Like I said, it's a beautiful scheme. These are absolutely stunning decals from Cartograph. They've gone down absolutely phenomenal. That gold is absolutely amazing. You see it gleaming in the light. It's a very, very nice scheme. Once you're happy, again, hit it with some decal solution just to ensure you've got all those edges fully pressed around the corners. Take your time, don't be too harsh. Just nice light touches. After you've done a few of these, you'll soon get the feel for it. Okay, we've got the other side on. This is the one that I screwed up the gold on and replaced it with another decal. Like I say, no real problem. It just creased over and took a bit of the gold out. Wasn't happy, so I replaced it. There's the Casey Stoner 27 on the front, the iconic decal. And with that on, that's it basically complete. A few more little decals went on there, but nothing caused any drama. Onto the front wheel fender now. We've got some stars to put on there. And then we've got a nice flag on the side. So happy I chose this blue. Very happy with the colour I chose. It really does look good. And it especially looks good in a little bit when it's all complete as well. With the Aussie flags on there, the Michelin Man, the stars. It really does look the part. Again, careful placement of the decals. Very important. Just pay attention to those call outs. Look at the box. Look at pictures of the real bike. Look at your decal call out. Everything to ensure you get everything in the right place. I'm a bit OCD about this kind of thing. I like everything to be where it should be, and just take your time with it. Once you're happy, come into the decal solutions, get them all set in place, and you're good to go. Very nice decals on the side now. Michelin Man Aussie flag. Very cool. Makes a nice combination with the stars, UK flag, Aussie flag, and the Michelin Man. It's a very, very smart looking bike, this. And like I say, these decals run on no real dramas at all. And that just looks awesome. Once we get that 2K'd, that will shine like a diamond, and it will look absolutely phenomenal. So, this rear seat mount, all sprayed in black. And there's a white decal to go over it. This is the decal I was talking about before. Once I put the decal on, I thought you could see the black showing through it quite bad, as you see when we made them up together. You could see a colour difference in the two whites. So I thought, best way of remedying this, let's double it up. Use one of the decals out the other set, and we'll get it looking a lot better. So this part just clips and unclips off. Nice and simple. We've got our second decal off. We're going to set this in place exactly like the first. Bit of a tricky one, this. A little bit awkward, so take your time doing it. Get the top part on first, get it where you're happy, and then work your way down, because I was finding the bottom part was pulling the top away. So just take your time there. Once it's all set in place, you can see now we've got a much deeper white colour, or brighter white colour. So very happy with that. So whilst using extra decal sheet was a bit of a pain, it's paid off here, I think. It looks a lot better. Another tricky decal, side part of the rear seat fender, the exhaust fender, cowling, whatever you want to call it. Again, this needs to be lined up. Get both sides on, make sure you're paying attention to all the call outs, and there is a little piece to go over that white decal we put on that seat mount as well. A couple of decals underneath, 3 of them in total. And that completes all that rear fender section, fairing section. A little bit tricky to do because you've got to actually apply them in the recesses. But overall, not too bad at all. Top part, again, 4 decals on this. I forgot then. 4 decals on this to get in place. Very, very careful application. Once you've got it in, you can commit to the decal solutions, but make sure you're happy you've got them where you want them. Now these decals, these are going half across each one of these fairing parts. So we need to get these down, get them set in place, and get a nice sharp knife and cut through the seam as such so that we can take it apart still. So best way of doing this is get them all on, get them in place where you're happy, get the setting solutions on them. Again, I hit them straight up with a strong. Once they've been left for a while and that you're happy they're in the right place, leave them a little bit. Once they're dry, cut through them with a sharp knife until you get a nice clean cut. Get the number 27s on the back. Last 2 decals on the back of the bike. Very easy to place, fit in there absolutely perfectly. Again, hit with the strong solution. They went down no problem at all. It's a nice busy rear end on the bike. So we've got our Tamiya knife with a brand new blade in, and we're just allowing the knife to follow that seam line that's there. And just lightly cutting through till we're happy. Do this all the way around for all 3 decals, and then hit them with the decal solution again, using the point of the tip of the brush to push down into the panel line as such. And then once you're happy that they're in there, separate the parts and conform the edges with your finger like we did on that front cowling. It's a tricky part, this, and it's quite easy to mess up, so really take your time doing it, just to ensure you get that cut nice and clean. It's a bit of a pain the way Tamiya can do this. They could supply the decals in 2 parts. I've seen them do it on other kits, so why they don't on these, I'm not sure. But as long as you've got a nice fresh knife blade and you really take your time, you shouldn't really have any issue. Just make sure you're fully through, because you don't want to separate these parts. And yeah, the decals come with it. So we just pop the bottom off. Have a careful watch at the top. There we go. Spot on. No problems at all. So make sure all the decals are in place, then we'll get the edges with the brush. We'll do both, then we'll come back with a finger and conform all the edges over. These have been set for a while, so straight away all folds over. And there we go, job done. So that's it. That's basically all the bike decals. So I'm just going through the instructions to double check we've used all the decals. We have some left over. They're going to be used throughout the build. There's also spare decals that is for if you wanted to spray the red, black and gold. If you do that, fair play to you. That's very brave. These are now going to be kept back in the bag safely out of the way. So these are all the fairing parts all done. Very happy how it looks. It's a beautiful looking scheme. And like I say, we've still got decaling to do. We'll come back and do those at a later date. Now there are some areas that need a little bit of touching up. Mostly black to white demarcation, but we'll get those later on. Either using our Sharpie pen or some paint. It's easily done and you will not see it at all. But the decals went down absolutely fantastic. They've gone down really nice and smooth. And they're really at the park. A little bit of a watermark there, I'm just wiping off. There we go. Yeah, they've gone down really well. Nice striking scheme. It really is beautiful. And once 2K'd, that front fender is going to look amazing. As to, hopefully, will the rest of the bike. Our lower cowling, very nice. Our paint line, absolutely spot on. No problems at all there. And again, our fuel tank cover, beautiful. Really nicely set decals. I just love that gold, red and black scheme. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Really does look nice. And again, side fairings, spot on. No issues at all. Nicely filled holes for our magnets as well. They're not shown at all. We do have a fitting to put on that later on, which will be the natural fitting for the bike. So we'll sort that near the end of the build after 2K. We're very happy with all those fill marks and what have you. They've gone through perfectly. Can't see them at all. And if we quickly assemble the front and side fairings, we can see what it looks like. Built up a touch. Like I say, putting these magnets on is a great touch. I will be doing that for every single bike I build now for sure. Like I say, there's a few areas that are going to need a little bit of touch up of paint here and there, just where the decals kind of missed an edge, or the decal kind of didn't quite reach and what have you. So we'll get those before we go to 2K, but it looks phenomenal. Very happy how this looks. It's turned out really well. And like I say, this is one of the more stressful parts of the build out of the way now. We can leave this for a bit. Once we get the rear hugger 2K'd, carboned and decaled, we can 2K it all. And again, that's another major step out of the way. And we can relax now and get on with the rest of the build. So there we go. I think it's a great looking bike. If you can get one, I highly recommend it. They do go for silly money, which is a real shame. But if you can grab one of the bikes, I certainly would. Like I say, all the spare decals now, because they're not going to be used for a few days or a while, I pop them back in the bag, fold the bag over and put it safely away so they don't get damaged or lost. It's very easy to throw away these decals. I've been rooting through bins before looking for a decal, and put them away so they're nice and safe. I didn't show this part, I completely forgot, so we'll zoom back in. This is our rear cowling. Again, beautiful. Our separated decals look great. No issues at all. Got a little bit of touch up there. That's one of the parts. So we'll just get that with a little bit of paint and a brush. You could airbrush it should you wish as well. But for me, a paint will get that. It's underneath. It's not a highly visible part. There's a little touch in there as well. And there we go. There we are then. So that's it. All decaled up. Obviously, we've still got other parts to do on the front screen because they need doing afterwards. We'll add those once it's all glued in place. That's how I normally do it. We've still got the rear hugger to carbon up. We've got loads of carbon decals to do on the bike, so we'll cover that in a subsequent part. Whether it be the next one or the one after, I don't know. I would like to get to the engine, so I think we'll do something different. We've still got the hugger to decal in carbon, and there's decals to go on top of that. That'll be 2K with the rest of the body. The rear swing arm's got decals on it. Some of the framework's got decals. The fixtures have got carbon decals and normal decals on. There's decals all over this thing, everywhere. So it's an ongoing process. So I couldn't get it all in one video. it's just, we're not at that stage. So as we hit them later on through the build, I'll explain what's been decaled. If you want to see decaling in more length, I've got a proper decaling vid there, showing the UMP decal solutions in use. You can go to the Subaru build and watch that. There's plenty of videos out there to watch me decaling on. So I don't want to bore the bejesus out of you by watching it, so I didn't show every step of the way. But it's a simple process. I'm putting micro set down first, get rid of all that from under the decal, hit it with, usually with the normal UMP decal solution, removing that, hitting it with the strong. But I found with most of these, they responded best being hit with the strong straight away. I just found that I got a more instant result. And with those metallic decals, you've really got to take some care with it. Too much messing around and you'll ruin the metallic flake in the decal. So it was setting quicker, so most of the time I use the strong. I use the water pen brushes purely because I like the actual brush itself. And if you watch me, I'm not afraid to use a cotton bud or my finger to get creases out, conform it around the edges and what have you. Decals are a bit stronger than you think. As long as they're good ones, you can push them a little bit. I've decaled dozens and dozens of cars over this last 2 years. So nothing will get you better than decaling. They're doing it every single week on complex cars. And I know how far I can push these decals. If you're not sure, really take your time. Don't rush it. Make sure everything's placed perfectly before you commit to any actual solutions that, you know, conform the decals. Really take your time. But yeah, as you see, I'm not afraid to get in there and force them round and conform them. And they've come out really, really well. Very happy with them. And yeah, glad to get that step out of the way. Shame we usually do the decal sheet, but it's by the by. I've got another one on the way, so we'll make another different bike at a later date. So, you know, 6 of one, half dozen another, with it being a problem to a solution. It's not a problem at all. And there we are. So, we'll be back next time, hopefully with the engine. Yes, that's what I plan to do. I hope this video wasn't a bit all over the place, because like I say, I wasn't sure how it was going to pan out. So give me your thoughts on it, let me know what you thought. Getting great feedback on the bike build as well, so thank you very much everybody that's watched it. And I'm really enjoying the build, and I think it shows because I'm getting through it quite quick as well. There we go. So thanks for watching. As always, check out the Facebook page and forum, International Scale Modeler, umpretail.com. You can get a lot of the products I use, my Paul ISM modelling page, the Live at the Bench page, Off Air Hangout group. All these are linked in the description down below. If you're not subbed to the channel, sub, click the little bell notification, leave a like and leave a comment. I reply to all of them. There we go. Thanks for watching today. Catch you all later. Take care. Hooroo.